What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Seed and Sparrow Homestead. My name is Kelsey. If you are new here, this is your first time tuning into one of my garden tours. I'll give you some background. We are in South Central Pennsylvania. It's zone 6B. This is my 6th year gardening here on our property. We've owned the place for about 8 years. I didn't start gardening until about 6 years ago. We are on a 1/4 acre in the country, but we're in town. We live right off the main road, so I apologize if you hear any of the road noise. It's just inevitable where we are. I do a bunch of different types of gardening here. I have some in-ground, no-dig style beds. I've got some Ruth Stout beds, some raised beds, and practicing a little bit of permaculture as well. I grow a variety of different foods and a whole bunch of flowers, some herbs, medicinal herbs, lots of different stuff. So I think this week, I usually start at the back of the property. I think we're going to start up front at that newer addition where we did some landscaping. I want to show you all the progress there. And then we'll start up at the front of the house and work our way back towards the cottage garden. Okay, so here is the newer addition we did with some landscaping. Petunias have done what I wanted them to. They've really filled out nicely. The green stalk's still doing okay. I missed filming it for you guys when it was in full bloom. I had a whole bunch of petunias and nasturtium in there, but they're kind of not really doing much of anything anymore. And then back here along this side of the home, I have a whole bunch of herbs. I will take the camera up and we'll look at it closer. And then I've got some squash, some excess squash that I had, didn't know what to do with them, so they went in here and they're doing their thing, sprawling out all over the place. So you can see we still have not put the lattice along the deck. That is still on the to-do list, but probably realistically won't happen until the fall when everything settles down. So let's go take a closer look. All right, so in the front I had 2 different colors of petunias. I have some dianthus in there and it's all filled in really nicely. So back in here is where one of those excess squash went to. I think, sorry, we're up by the road. There are, yeah, it's a Jacoby little pumpkin, those tiny little decorative orange pumpkins. That's what that is. Just some random daisies that I got at a greenhouse. I didn't grow those from seed this year. And then back in here, I did plant 2 mullein plants that I had grown from seed. And something's just devouring them. I think it might be the Japanese beetles. They've come back with a vengeance. Here is a somewhat messy green stalk. As you can see, like some of the nasturtium and the petunias are on their way out. Some things are still doing okay. I've got pineapple sage in here, which smells incredible. Some celery. The strawberries are pretty much done up here, and as you can see, they were pretty much turned into lace by the Japanese beetles. I hate those buggers. Some lemon mint. There's some parsley over here. And some cilantro that I'm letting go to seed just to save the seed. So that's what's happening there. In this little L-shaped bed, let me step back a bit. Oh, there's a cat. This L-shaped bed is mainly just zinnias. And I don't know if you remember like one of my first garden tours this year. I said I had these mystery plants. I didn't label them. I had 2 of them. They went in this bed. No clue what they were. Well, they just started blooming like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago. It is blue plurum. It's a beautiful filler for arranging flowers for bouquets. That's what that is. So mystery solved there. And then just the rest are all zinnias with a few nasturtium thrown in, but aren't these just beautiful? So pretty. I don't think I have shown you guys this since I said I was putting in a raised bed here. First off, we need to mow and we need to weed whack, so don't look at that. From the beds that were here before, I had a whole bunch of lemon balm. I decided to put some in a container to contain it. And then I went to a local greenhouse and I picked up some perennial flowers. So this is hyssop, really pretty when it's in full bloom. These are on their way out, but the pollinators love it. It's always filled with them. This here is cat's pajamas. I think it's also, I think the scientific name is like Nepeta. And then of course, you know, I couldn't resist the roses. This one is looking a little sad because the Japanese beetles are all over it. They just devour everything. But it is really pretty. It's like an apricot color. Down here I've got some salvia, some black prince snapdragons I grew from seed. This is coral bells. I purchased that. They're not in bloom right now. And remember, like way back when I said I was trying to grow lisianthus, and this is the first year I've actually had success in getting it to germinate and not die within a few weeks. But of course that all happened way later than it should have, and now it's like really hot. So I'm not sure we're actually gonna get any flowers out of there, but I'm still calling it a win because they're alive. So let's move over to this whole jungle. So all of these rows here are all potatoes. This is my Ruth Stout bed. So potatoes went down, hay went over, well it's straw went over. These still have another few weeks. I try to stagger plant all of my potatoes. I have potatoes here and a bunch more up in the raised and no dig area. Just to try not have too much overwhelm with one crop. We have a small home, and trying to cure a whole bunch of crops at once is difficult. So I like to stagger plant things. So these have a few more weeks before they're ready. My dream of a squash archway walkway is definitely not going to happen. This one's doing the right thing. These are not, and it's because it's too shaded over here. And this is why. We have a big old maple tree that casts shade. It really only gets maybe like 5 hours of direct sunlight over here. And I was taking a chance and I knew it, and it's okay. I'm gonna have to think of something else to plant here. If you have any ideas, let me know for next year that doesn't require quite as much sunlight. Either that, or I'm gonna have to just move this arched trellis somewhere else in the garden. Here is this. It is literally a jungle. It's a beautiful jungle, but it's hard to get through. We've got a whole bunch of things. Cabbage, leeks, there's strawberries buried under there, nasturtium, calendula. There's yellow and green zucchini. On each side, I have different varieties of raspberries. These are my new ones. That's why they're so much smaller. Lots of weeds. I need to do some weeding in this space especially. This is one area I've kind of neglected. Let's go up in here a little bit more. So over here I've got a bunch of Brussels sprouts. I need to come through and take off the bottom leaves, try and encourage those little Brussels to start growing. All my strawberry beds that frame the thing in, they're done for the most part. Got all my celery still here. I'm letting some lettuce go to seed so I can save it. Let's see. These here are the Anne raspberries, the golden variety. And then over here, I'll have to find some. See those pretty coral ones back in there? These are the double gold, both very sweet varieties. And then this one here, I'm gonna wait for the truck. This one here is cucamelon. Let's see if I can find one. Here's one. I think they're just a tad bit sweeter than a cucumber. My husband despises them. He doesn't really like cucumbers either, but I gave him one. He didn't know what it was. I'm like, just try it. And he was not very happy with me. I like them. I think they make really good fridge pickles. This is cantaloupe. I haven't seen any start on there yet. Borage, which has completely fallen over. We had a really heavy rain 2 nights ago, and a lot of things have fallen over. Over here, I think these are all Joan J. raspberries. And then I've got, maybe you can even see them, yeah. There's some onions back in the tomato forest. And then I've got a bunch of jalapeno peppers in here. all the way around. These tomatoes, I gotta step back, hold on. These tomatoes are out of control. These are my paste tomatoes, so I have not pruned them, but I need to come in and at least take some away from the bottom. I'm hoping that'll allow me to actually walk in there and harvest them. They're loaded with tomatoes. There's so many tomatoes. Every plant has, I don't know, 30 to 40 on it. So that's gonna be awesome. And I haven't seen any blossom end rot yet. That likes to make itself known with a lot of paste variety tomatoes, but I haven't noticed any yet. So I'm assuming my watering is sufficient for them, and the nutrient needs are sufficient. Here is the no dig and the raised bed portion. So I've got a whole bunch of flowers down here. All of these things I grew from seed. So I have a whole variety of snapdragons. I think these are apple blossom. There's a mix here from Baker Creek as well. These really pretty orange ones. I think that's just called orange snapdragon. We got some verbena, some creeping phlox, which is not blooming. Pretty much the same thing going on this side, but I have a daisy thrown in here and some lavender. There's some lavender in there too that's still itty bitty. The elderberry plants I got from Emma Gardner are doing awesome in their pots here. And then on this side, these guys are just showing off. This is the zucchini rampicante, however you say it. I grew this year from seed. So these are kind of like a hybrid. Early on, you use them like a zucchini, like a summer squash. And if you allow them to cure on the vine, they can be stored like a winter squash. So that just seemed perfect, because half the time I miss zucchinis and then I end up with like child-sized zucchinis that are pretty inedible. So I thought this was a win-win. I never know which way to start in here because there's just so much to look at. Sweet potato beds, doing good. I pulled out most of my peas. I have some left that I'm using to save for seeds, so they're gonna dry there. I do have some cucumbers growing in there as well. Second round of carrots looking good. This is probably the next bed of potatoes that are gonna come out. They're starting to yellow, starting to fall over, so give it another 2 weeks. I'll probably be harvesting them. Down here, got the peanuts that I planted, still doing well. And then I've just started harvesting off of these dragon tongue bush beans. And then I think, let's see if I can find one to show you. Here we go. These are burgundy, burgundy bush beans. These are actually, I think they taste better than the dragon tongue. I think they taste better than the golden wax beans and the jade bush beans or the contender. I like them better. They're a little bit sweeter, and they honestly remind me a bit more of a pea. More carrots, more celery, which is ready to be harvested. I'm going to be doing that soon. And then this bed, I did just harvest some potatoes from. I'm going to compile all of my potato harvesting into one awesome potato harvest video for you guys. Over here is where we harvested the garlic, but I just planted some more potatoes in there. I always plant a second round for fall. Here is another strawberry bed, and this is an ever-bearing strawberry. So as you can see, we're getting more buds, so more strawberries probably in another month. You can see the little ones there growing. And then back in here are all of the tomatoes. Looks like that guy needs to be tied up again. And I do have some things like basil planted in between there. Here's an update on the onions and the shallots. They're not looking the greatest. I think the allium leaf miner got in here too. and they just keep falling over. I can't get them to stay upright yet. Like, here's a telltale sign of the allium leaf miner. You see that streaking in there? And it's kind of gnarly and twisted. Yeah. Now, I didn't have any issues storing my onions last year when they were affected by the allium leaf miner, so I'm not really worried about it. Eventually, they'll catch up. They're just not looking the greatest right now. For here, we've got peppers. There's a little mini bell. And then up in here, these are ajvarski. They will turn red. They're my favorite for roasting. They're really good Italian roasted. Pepper, it's thundering. I'm always battling the rain now. Before it was drought, now it's rain all the time. Lots of beets in here. I need to come through and harvest again. Look at how dark it got. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. It's quite dark. These are my flower beds. Looks like hollyhocks going to be blooming soon. These are a dwarf variety, so they're not going to get super tall. Got larkspur. I have some white. There's also a blue. It looks purple, but it's called blue larkspur. These are all sweet alyssum. Great ground cover. These are, I think, pink lemonade? Yeah, pink lemonade cosmos. Either that or apricota. I forget which one. And then, and that's a weed that needs to get out of there. And then I've got some bachelor's button, random overflow tomato, and then that bed just kind of mirrors it. Not everything is blooming quite yet. All of my cosmic cherry petunias, they're doing super well. Really pretty. Uh-oh. I see a loss. My poor dahlia snapped. That's my own fault. I didn't tie it up and support it. And that rain, it just did it in. So that's a bummer. But it is what it is. I think the whole thing, yeah. They all just snapped. Look at how glorious that was. How big that head is. I'm gonna have to chop that and bring it in with me tonight. Down in front of the dahlias, we've got all our banana peppers. Got lots of those to harvest. And something I'm super excited about. I grew a cabbage. It's not looking the greatest, but like, it has a nice firm head on it. It's the first one that I've ever grown during the spring, and it's stinking hot, and it's still doing good. So I'm gonna pick that one soon. Some of the other ones are starting to form heads, but nothing worth picking yet. So hopefully they make it, and I'll actually have a cabbage harvest, although I've started some for the fall too. Beans on their way out. Kale is also on its way out, so that's gonna get replanted with some other things here soon. Lots of tomatoes growing. Swiss chard. I just think Swiss chard is so pretty. And this is the honeywort. Isn't that just lovely? The bees, do you see them over there? They love it. Such a whimsical plant. More celery, lots more. The corn's looking awesome. It's super tall, lots of tassels. The raspberry cane forest is just insane. Like, it stands 2 feet, 3 feet above me, and I'm 5'6". It's just going nuts. Lots of portulaca. I think I want to grow just an entire bed of this. I think the colors are just so vibrant. They're like jewel tones. Really pretty. More chamomile. The leeks are looking pretty good. We did harvest some more potatoes here, and I replanted there as well. And then over there, that's just all of the asparagus and another now dormant strawberry bed. Here are all of the zinnias. I don't know if I've shown you guys the zinnias since they've started blooming. Love all of these colors. I've got maybe like 6 different varieties in here. And they all just have all these variations within the variety. Lots of white ones. I think this is called polar bear. Oh, and there's a chicken out. It's always the same chicken. We don't know how she's getting out, but it's always her. Big pink ones. I think this is a Benary's giant. And then let me find, I wonder if it's still here. Oh, yes. Look at this zinnia. It's like an ombre, super deep green down here. And it just gets lighter and lighter until it turns to slime. Almost yellow up in here though too. Really pretty. This one too. That ombre. It's almost like a unicorn. Zinnia. I love zinnia so much. I'm going to take you in here and show you our new layers. We've had them for a little while. But we have some olive eggers in here. This lighter one here is lavender Orpington. That's Eleanor's favorite. She named it lavender. But it's just the one lavender Orpington, 4 olive eggers, and then I got 1 well summer, but she's hanging out in the back. So those will be in addition to our older ladies here. Some of them are on their way out. They're pushing 3 years. So we always try to keep a rotation and pick up a few more every year so that we always have eggs. And then out here in our garage, we've got our second batch of meat birds. These are Cornish cross. So we did 25 in the spring, and we'll be doing 25 in about another 7 weeks. They've got the zoomies. So it's the next morning. I had to pause the tour last night. It started to downpour, and it didn't stop all night. I think we got 1.25 inches of rain. So some things this morning looked like they got knocked over even worse than they already were from the previous downpour that we got 2 nights ago. But yeah, oh, there's a hummingbird. Anyways, I'm gonna resume the tour now. So I think the cottage garden is where I left off. Here's a quick overview of the space. Lots of stuff going on. So all of the orange and yellow that you see is all volunteer calendula. I don't think I'll ever have to start calendula from seed again because it just reseeds itself so easily. Over here, all these spiky flowers. This is Liatris. I think it's also known as blazing stars. These are the blackberries that I still haven't found a permanent spot for, but they're doing okay in their pots there. And while we're over on this side, I wanted to walk around the back because there's some things going on that you can't see from the front. This here has been eaten by, I think, Japanese beetles. But this is an amaranth. It's called emerald tassels. It's got these long, dramatic tassels on them. I like to use these in flower arrangements, although right now I'd have to strip all the leaves because it's looking pretty sad. Down in here, that's a cayenne pepper plant. I have some pepper plants, my hot ones tucked back in here so they don't cross-pollinate with the mild peppers. Lots of weeds. I need to do some more weeding. Some echinacea here. And I have some fennel back here. If we keep moving over, I've got some more amaranth. This, I believe, is Hot Biscuits. I think that's the variety. Really pretty. And then here, down here at the base of the apple tree, I have some comfrey. And a cat who is always wanting to be the center of attention. So back here, this is the elecampane that I said I'm gonna do away with. And one of you suggested cutting it back and allowing it to focus on its root growth and then harvesting in the fall, because the roots are what you harvest. So that's what I'm gonna do as of the fall. This will be no more. It really was quite ugly. Once it bloomed, just had these teeny tiny, almost like dandelion looking flowers at the top of it, and they were super tall and they all just fell right over, and it was just not very pretty. So that's gonna go away. My gladiolas back here, they've all started to bloom. Look at these beautiful colors. So far I've seen red, and there was a purple one there. But they've all fallen over from that heavy rain last night. I didn't think I was gonna get any lupin blooms this year. Lo and behold, decided to show up here kind of late in the season. Some lupine mixed in. And then this poor thing fell over from the rain, but this is another amaranth. I love amaranth. This is called Love Lies Bleeding. It's very dramatic, really pretty, in some bouquets to just like hang over the side. All of the black-eyed Susans have bloomed. These just scream summertime to me, and cottage garden. I love them. And over here, I have some other things I plan to use for flower arranging. This is called Copper Plume. It's really pretty, almost like burgundy shade, and it has these funky seed pods on it. And then this here is Sweet Annie. It hasn't really done a whole lot yet, but it's a filler for arranging. My chamomile has fallen over, but I've got like 3 chamomile plants all in there. Some more, these are hot jalapenos. I think I saw a few. Yep, there's a couple already in there. Oh, this cat. She needs her own YouTube channel. And of course, more volunteer calendula all throughout. I did plant some salvia in here. I love salvia, and this is a perennial, so it should come back next year. This one is also a salvia, but it's a pink salvia. I haven't seen any stems for buds start to pop up yet. And then here is one of my new David Austin roses. This is the Lady of Shalott. It's really pretty. It has a tighter bloom, more petals than the one up front. If I can grab this one. See, much tighter buds. Very fragrant. I'm happy I got this one. And then the pink fluffy thing there, that's a stilby. That is a perennial. I love that. It comes in so many different colors. And then up front here in the left corner, I've got some lavender. I did cut that all back. And I had planted strawberries the first year that I put this bed in, and they have just spread all the way back in through there. Now I've got about probably 30 or 40 strawberry plants in this bed from about 6 that I had planted 2 years ago. And then on to the right corner here, kind of mirrors, more calendula, more strawberries, another rose. This is the Olivia Rose Austin. This one is definitely more of a showstopper. in like early spring, May. As the summer goes on, the sun just starts to bleach the petals. It's actually a really pretty deeper pink, not quite as like baby pink as it's showing up right now. This massive oregano, I need to come and chop it back again. And then all of the yarrow. And then there's milkweed there. Big old butterfly bush. Our apple tree. So I thinned off all the apples to not have more than like 2 per cluster. And it's still like really weighing it down, but it looks like it's okay. They're getting nice and big on there. Down in here I have another rose. This is Princess Alexandria of Kent. And unfortunately these blooms are on their way out, but here's a new one forming. It's a really pretty color. It goes from this deeper, camera isn't picking it up very well. It's a bit more coral of a shade of pink to a lighter pink when it's fully open. And then this here is Blue Status. Yeah, it looks purple. Nothing really is truly blue in the garden, but it's called Blue Status. I like to use that for fillers as well. Some more Sweet Annie. I don't know if that is a weed. Quite honestly, I think it's a weed. I have to pull it out. Some Volunteer Lupin have started popping up. This is a lace flower. Gotta focus. Comes in like light pinks, blues, and purples. Foxglove is still hanging around. And then more salvia. And there you can see better how all of the gladiolas have fallen over from that heavy rain. But there is the Cottage keyhole garden, mid-July. And back here along the garage, I have some more paste tomatoes. These are my indeterminate varieties though. And they're looking really good. Lots of fruit set on them. Really just loaded. But I see some have fallen. I need to come out. I use these, I think they're called C-clamps. I get them on Amazon, and that's how I hold up all of my tomatoes. Oh, and these trellises here, and then in the front, there's weeds. There's weeds everywhere this time of year. Some more basil. I've got 3 big. I think are these all blue spice? I don't know if there's tags in here anymore. Yeah, that's a guessing game. I don't know. I love all basil, so I don't really care if I know which one it is. I'll still use it for tea. Alright, you guys, I need to wrap up this tour. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I can't totally remember where I left off last night with having to bolt inside for the rain, but hopefully I didn't miss anything. And it's probably pushing 7 a.m. now here, and my kids are probably going to wake up any minute, and I have to get inside and make them some breakfast. But thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed seeing how everything is growing. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.